All right, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Sorry about the delay there. Some difficulties of a technical nature. But all right, couple of quick sound checks here. Good morning there, my man Peter. Good morning, Miss Lorna. Good morning, Debbie. All right, guys, big week ahead here, as we know, or you should know. So, quick peek here at the old economic calendar. There we go. Well, first off, you got big earnings. I believe Amazon, the Apple, the Meta, and the Microsoft. Couple of your heavy hitters. And then on the economic calendar, we will hear from JP and the boys tomorrow, right, aka Jerome Powell. And then Thursday, you got the jobless claims, PCE, and then you have the trade war stuff. So big week ahead, all the moving parts. But that being said, until things change, maybe a little bit patient here as far as our next longs. But till things change here on the spreadsheet, it's not a market I'm trying to short. Really, even for like a day trade or a scalp. Till the picture changes. Current picture is the S&Ps at 100% of their max strength. So they're cranking the QQQ at 98%. Dow Jones pretty good here. There's a nice new daily squeeze for the Dow. We'll take a peek at that. The IWMs are laggard, but as is tradition. And then sectors-wise, for one, nobody's negative. No negativity, and then the financials, 100%. The industrials, Big 10 basket, XLK, materials, XLY, the ARK ETF. All kinds of good things there. And then for the Big 10, you have, a Netflix leaving a little bit to be desired. Tesla's, I think, gapping up here about $10 at the open. That maybe tries to get a little bit better this week. Apple earnings, Meta earnings. But yeah, point being, till things change. I may be a little bit patient this week, getting through earnings, getting through Fed, before jumping in, taking brand new longs. But as far as getting short, I've got to see some kind of crack. Not seeing any cracks here just yet. Alrighty, now for the futures action. You got the gap, the pump, and the pullback. So here's your NASDAQ futures, and could be a case of they gap it up, they pump it, they push, you get your pullback, they hold the hourly 21. All right, they recharge, they reload, and boom, right back up towards those highs. I wouldn't doubt that in the current market. Only thing is, I got to get some buy triggers. So looking over here, we have buy triggers on the weekly, the daily, the 4-hour, and the 2-hour, which is good for a bigger picture swing trade. If you want to jump in and buy the hourly, best case is your 1-hour chart looks like Friday's close. Squeeze setting up perfect structure. You got the green arrow, really good entry. That can give you the gap in the push. And we kind of pull back, we're holding. It's not a bad hourly chart. 10 points at the 15, but again, no buy trigger. 1-hour neutral, 30-minute, 15-minute, and the 5-minute neutral. So the recipe, so to say, for a long would be, one, they keep on holding the hourly 21. So let's call it 23.5. Right, big easy number. They hold that 23.5. Then they give you something as far as, depending how aggressive you want to be, it could be a 15-minute buy trigger, could be a 30-minute, could be a 5-minute. If you're really aggressive, you could drop down to maybe a 2-minute time frame. All right, no 2-minute buy trigger, and then maybe the 1. If you're real frisky, you drop down to a 1. And there you go. Your 1-minute time frame has a 1-minute buy trigger. I'm looking for something more like a 5-minute, 15, or a 30. But there's your QQQ futures and the S&P futures. Where's the 1-hour chart? All right, the gap, the pump, and the pullback, pretty much the same scoop. Hourly 21 EMA, looking for a 5-minute or a 15-minute buy trigger. Now, if you look over here to the squeeze watch lists, in terms of things that jump out initially, that would be the 4-hour charts on the YM, the RUT, and the old Bitcoin. Right, they've got the bright green A+. Then we have our 2-hour chart on the Big 10 basket. The 30-minute on the old QQQ, the 2-day squeeze for Meta, and the 2-hour squeeze for Google. And we have other squeezes, but they're not good enough. They might lean bullish, it might lean bearish. We're looking for the A pluses. So futures wise, Bitcoin. Keep in mind, you could look at IBIT, you could look at GBTC, Coinbase, and MicroStrategy. If you don't want to go and play the futures, but all right, 4-hour squeeze. That ain't too shabby. What they're finally getting here is that momentum shift. All right, big push off of the previous 4-hour squeeze. And they're pumping, they pull back. You get another huge 4-hour squeeze. All right, this is July 17th until, well, we're still squeezing. But you enter a squeeze and you got all the trend, really good structure, 21 above the 50, stacked EMAs. You've got all those things, but you don't have momentum. MACD goes through a bear cycle back here. And what makes it bullish for now is the fact that you go through that momentum bear cycle, but they don't break the thing down. They don't break structure. They don't break support. It's a lot more of a big chop fest. Right, they pop it, they drop it, they're waiting. Momentum goes back to a bull cycle. In most cases, can be a fresh tank of gas for the bull skis. Momentum turn, big 4-hour squeeze, trend structure. Could make for a good pop. So I wonder, that being said, what if we go to maybe a micro strategy? Who has earnings coming up on the 31st? Looks like the 31st. Anything here for the micro strat? Yeah, for sure, the 3-day squeeze. All right, kick it higher, pull it back, kick it higher, pull it back, squeeze it. Maybe one I don't want to buy before earnings. Yeah, July 31st. But I tell you what, after earnings, they don't gap it up, down. They don't gap it down a bunch. They don't gap it up a bunch. Really anything near that 400, 405, 410, could make for a nice spot for a play off of the 3-day squeeze. And then what about a coin? You can't forget the coin. Coin with a 4-hour and an hourly. Coin gapping towards that 395-ish. All right, I would love it for a trade if they can turn this 4-hour squeeze into that 4-hour squeeze. We go from 8 points to 15. Neutral trend to bull trend, bear momentum to bull momentum, white arrow. If you can get that while the Bitcoin futures are trying to break out on their own 4-hour squeeze, could be some decent timing there. Where's my pen? Gonna write down coin 4-hour. We'll put that in the watch list. Could be of interest. But all right, anywho, so futures, 4-hour squeeze on the Bitcoin, and then 4-hour rut, 4-hour on the YM. So here's YM. All right, 4-hour squeeze, green arrow. Really good entry, and then daily squeeze has your white arrow. So it checks all the boxes, but the entry could be, if we're being picky and we want to be picky, entry could be just a little bit better. And then the rut. The almighty rut coiled up on the 4-hour. All right, couple things there for the futures, and then cash markets, you have the QQQ 30-minute. Qs are set to open around 568 and change. And I'm pretty sure we have a call wall at 570. Yeah, so your S&P is going to call wall at 6,500, and the QQQ has one at 570. Which could imply on a week with big earnings, Jerome Powell, all the shenanigans. Initially, 570 could be a trickier level to get through. Right, and we're going to open up looking like, for now at least, somewhere up around here. So mark up your 570, keep an eye on it. But for the 30-minute squeeze, That will probably fire here at the open. Meaning, hey, if you bought it back on Friday, awesome. In terms of a fresh idea at the open, that shit might have sailed. And then real quick here, so this is what we call the Big Ten basket. Right, and this is these 10 names. You got Meta, Apple, Tesla, Google, etc. In a weighted ETF. And granted, you got a big week coming up here for this little ETF. But if we look at the 4-hour squeeze, if they can break it out, if they can make it fire long, this implies another, call it 2.5 to 3% of upside. Not in every name in the group, but the overall collective group. 112-ish into 115-ish if the squeeze fires. Big gap down in Apple, big gap down in the Amazon. That won't help. They go and gap the bad boys up, they might break that out. So that's a big one. And then for Google, we bought some Google back on, it would have been back on Friday. So Google's got the 2-hour squeeze here with the green arrow. All right, pretty similar to, well, not similar, same exact thing as that squeeze and that bad boy. That's a shorter term idea. Bigger picture idea is still that monthly squeeze, which I think market willing will make Google the $225, $230 stock eventually. Market willing. But all right, guys, that's it as far as could jump in, could buy it right here, right now kind of setups. There's a 4-hour squeeze here for Microsoft. See what's up with that one after earnings. A couple things here for Meta. Now, Meta, I would love to buy Meta maybe later in the week. After all of the dust settles, based on that 2-day squeeze here, she's kind of calling my name. All right, big rip off the bottom, push, 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 and here's your first good breather. And if they don't break it down, they don't break it out, just more of drinking the Gatorade, eating the carbohydrates, gearing up for what could be a big push. And again, got to get through earnings, but till things change, 2-day squeeze, great trend, great structure, momentum, 15 points, A+ setup. Right at the sweet spot for a really good entry. Reason being, what makes it a great entry? If I buy it around, call it 713, I'm wrong back below that 21 EMA. So my risk is maybe something like, I could give it 4% down to about 683. My reward if the squeeze does fire is closer to 8%. Love the entry there. But not trying to get in the habit of loading the boat before earnings. But all right, so we got some Google and then waiting for the others here to get through their earnings. And then what else we got on the book? We got some Airbnb for a push into its own earnings. Nice daily squeeze. There we go. Daily squeeze, bought it on the green arrow, and we bought the 145 calls of the week of earnings. Not trying to catch too much here. A little pop into 144, 145. Should do the trick. So we have that one. We got the Google calls, and then we have the Kroger, which might be on the chopping block here today. It's at that spot where I'm either going to buy more of it. All right, took the entry on that candle. They think about getting the push going, and then right back to that buy zone. So it's either a spot where they hold it, they go and give me a fresh 15-minute buy trigger, 30-minute buy trigger. I jump in, buy a little bit more here at the buy zone. Or they do the opposite. They break that 21 EMA, at which point I should break up with the trade. So Kroger could be on the cutting board here. We got the Google, we have the Airbnb, and for now, that is our book of trades. And then doing the weekend work here. No lack of names printing really strong scores. The issue is they're so strong. For a lot of them, they're too far above the ideal buy zone. You could jump in, look for a day trade on something like a 15-minute squeeze, a 30-minute squeeze. But in terms of, hey, here's a name showing, really good signs of relative strength, perfect daily squeeze at the buy zone. Not really too much of that. One that could become that would be DoorDash. Could become that, meaning I don't have my green or my white arrow yet. But otherwise, I do like the dash here. Beautiful trend, good structure with your slingshot squeeze. And then the other one, I believe, was Vive. Kind of along the same lines. Yeah, Vive in your daily slingshot. And like I said, here's JP Morgan. Really nice setup. Daily squeeze, A plus, all the fixins. But if I buy the thing around $2.99, I'm maybe going to catch a $3-4 move into my favor. In my favor towards my target. Where am I wrong on that daily squeeze? I'm wrong back below 290. All right, so I maybe catch a $2-3 move in my favor, or I maybe take a $10-12 pullback on the chin. I want to be the guy buying it maybe somewhere back here. A little bit of risk and a lot more reward. But yeah, JP Morgan, I buy it on a pullback, and then same rules apply here for the Goldman. And the same rules apply for just the overall financials. But all right, y'all, that is about it. So we're long Google, long Airbnb, long Kroger. We got Paddle, we got big earnings, all the moving parts. And like I mentioned, I'm not going to be in a huge rush in terms of, hey, I'm going to go buy some of this, I'm going to buy more of that. But as far as trying to short the current market, I don't have to be the first guy to do that. Till things change, keeping the focus on the buy side, getting through a busy week here on Wall Street. But all right, folks, any questions for me, any chart requests, anything y'all want to look at, get it in the chat. And I'll get caught up here, see what you got. Yeah. Here's what I'm worried about, or not worried about, but mindful of. Cute little overnight pop. Oh my God, here comes the bulls, and then pull back into the open. If this is a picture all day long, neutral on the 1 hour time frame, neutral on the 30, neutral on the 15, neutral on the 5. Neutral's not bearish. None of that screams, look out, we're going to flush. But at the same time, nothing screams, yeah, you better buy that call. We're fully lined up here for a breakout into another all-time high. And not that the market has to make sense, but wouldn't be the craziest thing for a little back and forth into all the upcoming. But all right, let me get in the chat here, see what you folks have got. Nvidia pre-market little pop, tiny little pop in Google. All the back and forth. What's up, AGT? We have the Google 200 calls for August monthly. Good morning, Juden. Good morning there, Hart. And then good morning, Ross. Ross, can we take a look at IONQ for a possible squeeze? There's a handful. There's a handful. 3-day squeeze, a 2-day squeeze, a daily, a 4-hour, a 1 hour, a 30, and a 15. All right, so we call that plenty of squeezage. Like everything else in the market, earnings are on the horizon. All right, my least favorite time of the year. All right, what do we have here? 3-day squeeze would lean pretty bullish. Bulls have 13 out of a possible 15 points. And then what say you 2-day squeeze? Oh, yeah, that's perfect. Love the 2-day squeeze. 15 points, structure, momentum, the trend, really good entry. But now the giant question mark around that beautiful setup is earnings. They gap it up into $50. It's probably gonzo. They gap it down into $30. We don't want to be long that. They open it up anywhere around 42, 45 ish. I think it's a great setup and a great entry. Tricky thing is, though, I found that great setups and great entries um, into and through the announcement can be a little bit meaningless. Always makes our jobs a little bit harder. But no, in terms of good looking setups, that's checking all the boxes. I like it a lot. All right, I'm writing that one down too. 4 hour on the coin and the 2 day squeeze here for the IO NQ. What else we got? 4 hour squeeze. Key thing would be here after earnings. In the context of a perfect 2 day squeeze, can anybody else show up? Meaning, can we get a fresh 30-minute buy signal, an hourly buy signal, a 2 hour, a 4, a daily? Can something from the ground up look up to that 2 day squeeze and say, uh, we're on board, we're in agreement, let's go for the big push? Neutral just says we're not too sure. We're not trying to make your job easy, not trying to make your job harder. We're all trying to figure it out down here. So this is your quote unquote piece of dynamite. Then if you can get a 1 hour buy trigger, a daily, a 4, that's the match that can light the fuse. Any 2 day squeeze that looks like that, then goes on the breakout, rally towards that target. It's the same picture from the ground up almost every time. Bullish on the 1 hour, bullish on the 4, the daily, all the above. But I think you found it at a really, really good spot. And I think a lot of us here are buying the options, but imagine you're buying the shares. You're long from 43. You can put the exit down here below 40. You take on about 8% risk, and our target's closer to 54. Risking 8 to potentially catch a move of 24% in my favor. You don't need a 70, 80, 90% win rate. Working that kind of entry, that kind of risk reward. Yeah, great call out. Yeah, Kat, you like it too? I like it. All right, good morning there, Marty McFly. Then a couple here in the showcase room. Good morning, Vincent. CEG. Another great looking 2 day squeeze. And a great looking 3 day squeeze. And a great looking 4 hour. We're stacking them up here. Yeah, 2 hour chart looking proper, and then the hourly. Getting a gap here, which is a little bit funky pre-market. But no, the hourly there for the candle close on Friday. Chef's kiss. Really clean. Yeah, so maybe a pop here into the open, looking like it. All right, NQ getting a little. Yeah, this is lame. Futures traders get all the fun, guys. Right? They cut the gap up, cut a little push. They called it a night around 2 a.m., and then the tire just kind of deflates on you. Yeah, might be one of those opens, huh? All right, and then Ram will wrap it up here with BWXT. So this one has our slingshot signal, meaning you have a squeeze, right, all the energy being built up. You have really bullish trend, really bullish structure. The only thing missing for a nice explosive push would be momentum. But the blue arrow says, all right, pay attention, I'm working on it. Right, haven't gotten that positive cross just yet, but we're trying for it. And if they can try for it and get it and then get the arrow going, the white or the green arrow, then the odds favor, yeah, they're really going to go for a nice breakout. or in the options world, we call it a bigger than expected move. But all right, y'all, thank you for your time as always. I got to jump into the main room. But yeah, I wish y'all the best of luck this week. Could be dead wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. From my point of view, I don't think a great week initially for looking for big bets. Not trying to be too aggressive, not trying to push the size. Not trying to go for the kill. Couple things open. I like two of them. Not too sure about one of them. Long week ahead, and long remainder of the year ahead. So be patient, do well, and I'll catch up with you guys and gals on the same time, same channel on Wednesday morning. Thank y'all again, and